Concerns being raised about a policy at a local gym that has some parents spreading things online that the gym says are rumors. What are we talking about? We're talking about the issue of individuals identifying as the opposite gender they were born into, getting into a locker room facility for the gender they identify as. And I want to get your thoughts. 217-629-7970. Again, 217-629-7970. So I got this message about a week and a half ago, and we talked about it briefly. We didn't have any names of the businesses because we didn't have any confirmation or anything along those lines, but we still shared the concerns, and here's just some of that concern. Over the past year, this is a message that was shared to me, third party. Over the past year, transgender women, biological men, have been allowed to use the girls' locker room at the YMCA. This is often while the swim team girls and others are there. I learned about this a few months ago and had my daughter start using the family changing room. Many parents drop off their kids at the front door expecting this is a safe place. This has been going on for a year, we learned at the YMCA, and swim coaches were aware, not telling parents. It goes on from there, and the concern obviously being raised, but we have now YMCA responding with this message, and I'll read to you in full here, and I want to get your thoughts at 217-629-7970. In the past few days, the YMCA statement says, untrue statements have been circulating around the community about a child at the YMCA being exposed by an adult male. These statements are false, they say. Any report of this nature would have been documented and reported to authorities for investigation. The YMCA takes the protection of children very seriously. The YMCA is an inclusive organization, proudly open to all. We welcome all people and do not discriminate based on ability, age, cultural background, ethnicity, faith, sex, gender identity, ideology, income, national origin, race, and sexual orientation. In addition, transgender members are protected under Illinois state law that says that they may use the restroom or locker of the gender of which they identify. The law also states that it's discriminatory to require anyone to use specific private changing rooms. Their statement continues, some have expressed their concern regarding the safety of those in our buildings. As the community's largest youth service organization, safety is always at the core of what we do at the YMCA. We have a series of measures in place designed to protect all who are in the building and programs. Entry to our buildings is allowed only to documented members and guests, so we always know who is in our Y. We are committed to providing a place where people feel connected and secure. The YMCA of Springfield has been serving children and families in this community for the past 150 years. We are now, as we always have been, a powerful advocate for those we serve. We look forward to continuing our service to everyone in our Y community. So interested to hear your thoughts on this. Concerns overblown, or are concerns justified? And what do you think about the policy of the YMCA saying they're just complying with Illinois state law that you can't discriminate against individuals based off their gender identity? 217-629-7970. Again, 217-629-7970. That's the phone number. Knowing this, are you more willing to have your children go into these locker rooms, or are you less willing to have your children go into these locker rooms? And again, with the issue of whether or not a biological man goes into a woman's locker room, this is something we hear a lot about across the country and the concerns raised. But I want to hear from you at 217-629-7970. Let's go ahead and take to the phone lines. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Well, the statement's false from the Y. I mean, they say they check everyone that comes in there. Have you ever been to a swim meet? They don't check anyone.
Well, when it comes to like a public swim meet, yeah, you're probably right. I mean, it's open to the public and people can go in and watch their, nephew or niece or whoever. But when it comes to accessing certain facilities, listen, I don't know if they have somebody there checking the ID of whoever's coming in.
No, it was a completely false statement from the YMCA.
All right, got you down. 217-629-7970 is the phone number. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
No way. If you take 100 men and put them on a island for 100 years, eventually all of them are going to die. If you take 100 women and put them on an island for 100 years, eventually all of them are going to die. You take 100 men and 100 women and put them on an island, they'll be there forever. Plain and simple. Men are men, women are women. There are no bees and bees, birds and the bees, and all. If you want to be gay, that's fine. But this transgender stuff has gone way too far. It's getting slammed down our throats. It's crazy.
But what does that have to do with somebody using a facility just to clean up?
Do you have kids?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, I have grandkids, and I'm going to tell you right now, I have two. I have one that's brand new, but I have one that's going to be two tomorrow, as a matter of fact. And if I took him in the men's bathroom, and a girl that thinks she's a guy comes in there and stands at the toilet with the they got the things that they're allowed to stand now and pee. No, that's not how it happens. It's not. I mean, we're changing. Evolution is what we're changing. It's crazy. I think it was the Mayans that at one point in their life they forgot they got confused of what gender they were. That whole entire generation is gone. Like that part of that culture of the Mayans doesn't even exist anymore because of that. And that is a fact. You can Google that.
I'll have to delve back into my ancient Mayan culture history to see if I can fact check that. I appreciate the call. And listen, I mean, this is just some of the concerns that there are. But the YMCA says that the state law says they can't discriminate. And should they be able to discriminate? It is a private facility, so it's not necessarily a public restroom of sorts. But when it comes to private facilities, we've seen this play out across the country in various degrees. But the issue of allowing somebody who was born a man, identifying as a woman, going into a women's locker room where there could be young girls. Now, are there allegations that somebody, maliciously flashed somebody? Listen, it's a violation of law for an adult to show their nudity to a child. And if that's happened, where are the charges being filed by the parents? And I think that's something that really is the linchpin here into whether or not you've got legitimacy to these concerns. If there is an instance of that, should those allegations be filed with police, for instance? And even at the Y, a lot of organizations that deal with children, they are mandatory reporters where they have to report. They don't have a choice not to report if they see something inappropriate or any kind of abuse happening against a child. They have to report that. And from all I've been able to gather, that's not been the case at all at the Springfield YMCA. But your thoughts on this? 217-629-7970. Reports or no reports? Does this policy open up the possibility of that happening? I think that's a concern that a lot of parents have. Others not worried about it, but some are concerned about that. Should they have their concerns just brushed aside as well? You're not being inclusive. You're not you're exuding a certain type of bigotry. Should their concerns be just simply brushed off to the side? I don't know if you could do that. You have to hear all these concerns and really take them in and have a thoughtful consideration of those concerns. But too often we seem to brush people to the side with the concerns that they raised. Bottom line is, I've seen no indication of police reports being filed to this degree. Maybe that's the linchpin here as to whether or not these are legitimate concerns, but should it have to get to that point in order for these concerns to be taken seriously? Obviously, there's going to be a lot more to go with this particular story, and something I think that it's a contentious debate happening across the country. Even when it comes to young children being exposed to the ideology of transgender. With Tennessee, if you didn't see this, a bill that bans drag shows in front of children. A federal judge has deemed that unconstitutional. The Tennessee law prohibits drag shows in front of children. A federal judge says, no, it's unconstitutionally vague and substantially overbroad. And the law makes it a criminal offense for a person to perform adult cabaret entertainment on public property in a place where it could be viewed by a minor. These cabarets or drag shows could involve some strippers, men dressed as women, similar entertainers. And this is obviously a story that popped just recently with a federal judge saying that Tennessee's law is unconstitutional. But it begs the question that some raise. And listen, I mean, you can't just dismiss these concerns. You have to hear these concerns and see, how the concerns can be allayed. But people are worried that this stuff is being forced onto their children in public schools, public libraries, and in other avenues. And they feel that it's a way to, as they raised, indoctrinate their children into this ideology. And whether or not, you see it positively or negatively, it's still part of the conversation in the public sphere. And we'll do what we can to foster that and to hear from all sides. So I'd love to hear from you at 217-629-7970. Again, 217-629-7970. That's the phone number here with Springfield's Morning News on WMAY. Taking your calls at 217-629-7970 about the issue of policy at YMCA allowing for transgender individuals to access locker rooms. One message I got via email is, why is it only men doing this and not women that are wanting to go into a men's locker room and get undressed? Well, I do think that is what happens in some instances, but there seems to be more concern over men identifying as women going into women's locker rooms. Thank you for your patience. You've got about a minute and a half. I'll let you have it. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Good morning. A friend of mine was employed at the YMCA as a front desk person, and a while back was approached by a mother of an 8-year-old girl that was exposed to a transgender exiting a shower uncovered. She was highly upset, wanted the employee to confront the person about it. He waited until the transgender left the locker room and not exactly sure of the conversation, but was polite in stating, be careful, this happened, I've had a complaint. What happened was the transgender then complained to management, and management then went to my friend and basically reprimanded him. And he had heard that he was going to be let go from his position due to this confrontation. And rather than being fired from the YMCA on his record, I'm afraid that would affect his future. And I think he's going into law enforcement. He just chose to resign and step down. So
you're saying that there was indeed at least one instance you're aware of where a complaint was filed with YMCA officials?
Yes.
Interesting. All right, because I've not been given that indication. Please do me a favor, email me. Of course, you're anonymous right now calling in, except for the sound of your voice, but email me some more details if you could, Bishop on air. All right?
I will do that, Greg. Thank you.
It's 8 o'clock.
SPI Studios. Take the easy way.